Hello and good evening, everyone. I hope the audio, the video, and the screen, all these are visible to you, and the signal is clear. I hope that is all sorted. So let us begin our discussion. So today's webinar, it will be a small but informative webinar, which is very crucial and very important at this end moment of time. So this particular session this particular webinar. This will be approximately a 30 minutes, that is half an hour, because this being the most crucial time of your preparation for the examination, you're revising your concepts at this point of time. So we'll try to put it in, we'll try to have a brief discussion. And again, it is very important each year this. Okay, so sorry for that disruption. So each year, we always conduct this important session, which is last minute tips, last minute strategies, which you have to focus on before entering into the examination hall for attempting GATE 2023 architecture and planning. So we'll have a brief discussion, as I told you. It will be a half an hour discussion, and I would suggest you, because we will be discussing around say 10 to 11 points in the session, and you can have a brief note of these points during the course of this discussion so that you have a reference even after this webinar, because it is a small webinar. Let me give you an overview first. In this webinar, we will be dividing the session into three parts before the examination. So the exam is scheduled to be conducted on 4th of February in the afternoon session, not in the morning, right? So in the afternoon session it is. So before examinations, the first part of discussion, we will discuss few points which you have to remember in these remaining 4 days or 5 days of time before going to the examination hall. 4 days probably. So that is first part of our discussion. The second part of our discussion will be focused on points to be remembered during the examination. So those 3 hours which will decide your score, those 3 hours which will decide your rank, those 3 hours which will decide your college for your masters. So we will discuss about some points which you have to remember during those 3 hours of the examination. And finally, towards the end of the session, we will discuss few points very briefly which relate to post-exam, after the examination. So this session is divided into before exam, during exam, and after exam. We'll discuss some 10 to 12 points. That's it. That is all this session is about. So let us begin our discussion by looking into the points to be remembered before examination, the crucial points which you have to. Let me share my screen so that I can write on the board, write on the screen for you. I would suggest you also make a mental note, or at least if you're not able to make a mental note, you can also make a note on this on a piece of paper for your future reference of these points which we are going to discuss in this session. So as I told you, the first part of our discussion will be focusing on before examination. What are those key points to be remembered during revision, right? So we have compiled points based on the doubts we generally get from our students in this end moment of time. And also, I know most of you are nervous at this point of time. So in this session, we will also discuss how to handle the nervousness, how to stay cool, stay calm during the examination. Briefly on that as well, that also is very crucial. Anyway, let us begin our discussion. First, we will look into what to do during the examination, but first, let us do what has to be remembered before the examination. So I hope you all know me. This is R.H. Chandra from KP Gate classes. Let us begin our discussion with respect to points before the examination. Points related to the remaining 4 days of your preparation. First and most important, if you have not yet looked into the mock test which is available on the GATE portal, the official GATE portal. So on the official GATE portal, you have a mock test which has been uploaded. What is this mock test? It is not a new mock test with new questions. It is just the last year's paper. So on the official GATE portal, you will find the last year, that is GATE 2022 question paper in the form of a mock test. This is available in the form of a mock test. So this is the first thing which you have to do if you have not yet done it till now. Just as you complete this session, this half an hour webinar, deep discussion, go on to the official GATE portal, and check the official mock test which is available on the GATE portal. That is point number one. Now, what do you need to look into? This observation. So it will not be new when you go into the examination hall. So when you're sitting in front of the computer during the examination, you should not feel that it's something new in terms of interface. You should not have uncertainties. Now, how to select part B1, part B2, because you have general aptitude, common part B1 and B2. How to make the selection between B1 and B2? You should not be confused on those things. How to so in question paper also there are two types of modes. You can look at question paper question by question. So you can look at so on the screen you will have question number one. Then you can click on question number two. You'll get the second question, third question. So that is one type of looking at the question paper. There's one more option available where you can see the overall question paper, overall 65, all the 10 questions of general aptitude, all the 39 questions of part A, all the 16 questions of B1. So you can also have that question paper view. So you can select so to understand what is question paper view, what is question wise view, how to how to select the options, how what is the difference between multiple choice and so just to give you a sense, in multiple choice questions you will have options shown in the form of bullet points with circles. You can select any one option. In multiple select question, options will be shown in the form of boxes. You can select multiple boxes. It is a multiple select. So looking at those minute details with respect to interface, that is very crucial. And one other important, so in GATE mock test, what is it you need to focus on? You need to focus on understanding the interface. So as to avoid any uncertainty, remember in the examination, whenever you have any sort of uncertainty, it will increase the level of discomfort, it will increase the level of anxiety, and it will result in reduction of your score. You should be in a calm state of mind. I told you how to maintain calmness or how to be confident during the examination. I will briefly discuss on that. I told you, but actually, it is not a one-pointed answer for that. All these play a role. Understanding the interface beforehand, understanding how to use the scientific calculator. That also is very important with respect to the mock test. Look into how to use the scientific scientific calculator, how to use sine, cos, tan, how to use the log values in calculator. Look into all these things. So that is first and foremost thing which you have to do before the examination in this remaining time which you have. If you have not yet done it, if you have done it, it's well and good. If you have not yet done it, focus on this first point. Understand the interface, understand how to use scientific calculator, how to switch between views, how to select part B1, B2. Look into all these details through the mock test available on the GATE portal. That brings us to the second point. The second point which you need to focus on is the revision. So you have to focus on revising things. Revising things is very important in this remaining time now we are left out with. That's the reason we have scheduled this webinar also at such crucial time where you can stop learning new things now. Now that doesn't mean you should block your mind, you should not read anything new. Obviously, when you're revising, you might come across some new terms. If you're looking into some past gate paper, you might come across a term which you have missed out in your self-preparation. So you can study new things, but it is not a time where you for example, you don't open a standard book and start. So, for example, don't take Minister Fletcher and start reading history of architecture from it. So, don't do new things at this point of time. Rather than learning new things, focus on strengthening your foundation. Focus on revising things which you already know. So, revision is very important at this crucial point of time. How to revise things? Remember that you need to focus or revise all the numerical concepts, especially numerical concepts. Uh, if you look into GATE 2021 and GATE 2022 paper, the total number of numerical questions has increased by approximately 30%. So 30% is a huge percentage in terms of increase in number of numerical questions. Many people have this misconception after the change in pattern, there are less number of numerical questions. No, there is an increase in the total number of, so I'm not counting all the numericals of B1 and B2. I'm just counting the numericals of part B only once, either architecture or planning. There are same number of numericals in both. So if you compare the last two papers itself, there has been a 30% rise. Now, I'm not saying that you will again have a 30% rise, but you will at least have the same number of numericals again. So numericals are very important, and also scoring. And each and every mark is very crucial in the examination, which will decide your rank while getting admission into the colleges. So focus, you have to fight for each and every mark in the examination. So learn or revise, not learn, but revise all the concepts which you already know. For example, I'll just try to give you a little bit of perspective as to how you can revise things. For example, if you're revising acoustics, you have to, acoustics is a subject in gate architecture. It is in the B1, that is architecture part. If you're revising that, you should focus on revising the two basic numerical areas: understanding sound level, where sound intensity level is calculated by 10 log I upon I reference, and the I reference value is 10 raised to the power minus 12 watt per square meter. That's one important numerical area, which also relates to the inverse square law. You also need to understand what is inverse square law in acoustics. That's one numerical area. So revising numerical concepts. And second numerical area is reverberation time. Reverberation time is given by 0.16 into volume divided by total absorption. What is total absorption? The summation of alpha into S for all the interior surfaces. So this is what revision is. You know the things, but revise once again. That will boost up your confidence. That will give you a level of self-confidence which is required and which is the most crucial thing in clearing competitive examinations. So that is about revising things with special focus on numerical concepts. I will also tell you some more points under revision moving further. We will continue. There are one or two more points under revision, which I'll again make a note under moving further. Let me now move on to the next point. Point number three is now before the examination. Again, this also it is. This might sound silly, but it is important. Adjusting your sleep time and sleep cycle. That also is very crucial. Adjusting your sleep time and sleep cycle. You should have sufficient amount of sleep. Don't push yourself. Don't uh say you need not study for 20 hours a day at this point of time with 4 hours sleep. No, that's not something which you should do at this point of time. The last 4 days you should have sufficient amount of sleep. Don't strain yourself beyond the permissible limit of you know your own limit, right? So don't push much beyond that in terms of sleep. Have good sleep, and also adjust your sleep cycle. What do you mean by sleep cycle? Do not sleep during that time of the examination. So your exam is scheduled for the afternoon session. So stop. If you have the habit of taking a small nap after your lunch, stop doing that for the remaining 1 week or remaining 4 days at least. So don't sleep after your lunch. So that is important. If you have this habit till the last day of sleeping after the lunch, you will have a good chance of having a or getting a sleep feeling sleepy during the examination on 4th of February as well. So adjust your sleep time, adjust your sleep cycle accordingly so that you are not sleep deprived during the examination. You're not in the habit of sleeping in the afternoon. You're not straining yourself with less amount of sleep in the last 4 days. So that is point number three. Remember this. Don't push your sleep time or don't neglect sleeping. No, I'm not asking you to sleep 10 hours a day. Sleep an optimal level. Don't push the limits. That's what I'm trying to say over here. So that's point number three. Point number four, again, this also relates to before the examination, that is solving some past gate papers. Try to dedicate some amount of time. Obviously, 80% of your daily preparation time, whatever time you're spending on your preparation for these last 4 days, 75 to 80% of it should be focused on revising the numerical concepts and revising the theory concepts, which you already know, which you have already made a note of in your preparation for the past year. But along with that, dedicate some 15% of the time, 15 to 20% of the time in solving some past gate papers. Now, why am I asking you to solve? You might have solved already. You might say, sir, we have already solved all the past 20 years of question papers of gate architecture and planning. Obviously, you might have done that, but still dedicate some percentage of time, at least half an hour or at least 1 hour of time, or say whatever time you're having of that 15%, dedicate to solve some past gate papers. The reason for this is it will also help you in revising in a comprehensive manner, because if you're revising things topic by topic, you might lose out or you might skip out some crucial areas of your preparation, right? So this will give you a comprehensive revision. This will ensure that you have a comprehension revision. For example, last year's, if you're solving GATE 2022 paper, there was a question related to some biospheres and forest reserves, right? So you might not have covered that in some other subject. When you solve GATE paper, you will understand that this also was asked in the last year's paper. So let me have a look at the important forests and biospheres in India. So that will give you a comprehensive form of revision. That's very crucial. And more important than that is boosting your self-confidence. This will boost your self-confidence because you might already have solved some past gate papers either in our classes. So we solve a lot of gate questions in the classes also. If you were a past student, even if you have done your self-preparation, you might have solved a lot of gate questions. Now solving them in the last moment will boost up your confidence. You will feel like, I know this question. With confidence, you will be able to solve that question, and that will boost up your self-confidence. That also is very crucial at this point of time. So that is the second point under solving the past gate papers. So focus on solving gate papers for at least some percentage of the time, whatever you're spending on your self-preparation for these last 4 to 5 days. That is point number 4 of your preparation. The point number 5, I told you I have a further point which relates to revision. This actually relates to revision itself, and it is also sort of linked to past gate papers. That is, I will try to list down some areas which you might have missed in your self-preparation till now. If you have done it, it's well and good. But there are few things, even if you have learned that earlier, there are few things which are important to be revised in the last moment. So let me list down some examples of things which you, if you have done it, revise them. If you have not done it, even then, try to go through these points in the last moment, because there is no other shortcut other than remembering these things. And so basically, you need to read relevant updates. Now, you might have studied about the list of Pritzker winning architects, but recent update you might have lost in your preparation earlier. Or if you're looking into the recent Ramsar sites in India, Ramsar wetland sites in India, you might have studied that few months ago. There could be a possibility that there's some new update. So read the relevant updates and news. I'm not asking you to open the past one month of newspapers and start reading. No, that's not what I want you to do. I'm listing down few points over here relevant with these. Try to search on the internet, on the search engines, go through the internet news, try to see if there's any update with respect to these points which I'm writing down over here for ease of your preparation. So these points which you need to focus on for reading the relevant updates and news in the past few months is number one, with respect to UNESCO sites. UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and also there are some events of cultural importance under UNESCO which have been, for example, Durga Puja has been identified by UNESCO as a cultural significant event, right? So in the last, this happened in the last 1 year itself. So just see under the similar intangible, these are called as intangible cultural heritage. UNESCO also lists has a separate, other than World Heritage Site, they also have intangible cultural heritage also identified. Question was asked once in GATE exam on this. Kumbh Mela comes under that. Similarly, Durga Puja of Kolkata, Durga Puja of West Bengal was added to that list recently. So look into such recent updates with respect to UNESCO sites and UNESCO intangible cultural heritage. With respect to India, focus on India context. That is what is asked in the GATE examination. So UNESCO, go through the UNESCO updates with respect to World Heritage Sites and also intangible cultural heritage as well. Other than that, you can look into the updates related to Ramsar wetland sites. Just look into the updates related to the Ramsar sites and wetlands in India and in the context of India again. You can also look into the updates related to Pritzker Prize. There's only one Indian architect who was awarded Pritzker Prize, and we recently lost him, right? Uh, uh, in the past week itself, there was that update. However, by just look into some relevant news and updates with respect to all these areas once on your self study. Biosphere reserves as well. Biosphere reserves in India, forest reserves in India, and related to the geographic location also. Biosphere reserves and also relevant so the geographical. updates. Where is it located? So try to look into these details. So just go through relevant news and updates related to these areas. That is also very crucial in this last moment in revising things. So these are some points, pre-exam points. These are all points you have to remember for before examination. So that is point number 4 and 5. Uh, so these are 5 key points which I thought are important for understanding or for things to be remembered for revision and also things to be done before the examination. Now let us come to the discussion of few points of during that crucial 3 hours on 4th of February. That is during the gate examination. During the gate examination, first thing, the day of not only those 3 hours, that complete day till the end of the examination, starting from the morning till the end of the examination, everything as much as possible should be pre-planned. What do I mean by pre-planned? You should know where the hall tickets are already out. You should know where your examination center is. You should know how you're going to travel there. You should know what are the things you're going to carry to the examination. So try to have as many things as possible which are pre-planned, because pre-planned things will ensure that you don't have any last minute uncertainty, because last minute uncertainty is the biggest enemy to handle pressure during the examination. So remember on this point, have everything pre-planned. That is first point under this. Plan your day of the examination before itself. Plan your day. Under plan your day, what do I mean when I say plan your day? You should know where your exam center is. You should know how to reach there. You should know what things to carry. On the hall ticket itself, you will have the instructions. Bottle is allowed, sanitizer is allowed. So just see what are the things which are allowed. Don't carry anything which is not allowed in the examination. Mobile phones are strictly prohibited in the examination center. Few exam centers do have provision for you to place them safely in lockers or something, but not all exam centers have that facility. So you should know if you're if so try to plan. If it is possible, try to avoid carrying your mobile phone. Just take whatever is required for your travel. Just carry some money, or say, try to have everything pre-planned. That's point number one. During the day of the examination should be pre-planned to avoid any last minute uncertainties and avoid any buildup of pressure during the examination. So just go through those things to carry, like water bottle. Do carry a water bottle. And again, don't drink a lot of water also, because you're not allowed to go out of the examination hall for any reason before completing the examination. That is before 3 hours. Even if you complete all the questions in 2 hours, you're still not allowed to leave the examination hall as per the gate protocol. You have to stay in the examination hall for those complete 3 hours. So unless it is something completely unavoidable, I don't think there is any reason where they will allow you out of the examination hall. So try to go through the things to be carried in those to the examination hall, and try to pre-plan all the things as much as possible for the examination. Leave least scope for uncertainties during the examination. Moving on to the next point, during the examination, many students have this doubt. Many students ask me this question in my past few years of experience in teaching. I have been teaching for past 4 to 5 years, right? So in my past 4 to 5 years of teaching, each year, many students have this doubt how to answer the question paper. Now the question paper in the total, I hope you know that during the 3 hours of the examination, you need to answer a total of 65 questions, of which 10 questions are in general aptitude, 39 questions are in the common part, 16 questions are in the part B, that is architecture or planning. Whichever you select, both will have 16 questions. So total you need to answer 65 questions in 3 hours time. That is on an average, you have 2.7 minutes per question. So that's basically how the gate exam is structured. Now, how to answer the questions, or how to answer the question paper? Should some students ask me, should I start from the first question? Should I start from the last question? Should I answer general aptitude first or last at the end? So these are multiple questions which students have. So let us have a brief discussion on that. How to answer the question paper. First and foremost, it is not necessary. There's no thumb rule which fits everyone. It's not like one size fits all. It should be a strategy which is suitable. Particularly, it should be a tailor fit approach. Each and every person should have their own approach of answering the question paper, but let me give you some insights considering which you can build up your own strategy for answering the questions. So try to identify your strengths. GATE exam is all about working on strengths. No one can answer all the 100 marks in the GATE paper. No one till now in GATE history of architecture and planning, at least. Now, I'm not 100% sure of the other branches, but in architecture and planning, no one till now has scored 100 on 100 in GATE architecture. Even in other exams, I think this has never happened. But yeah, in some core branches, there are instances of students scoring 99 marks and so on. But in GATE architecture, even that has not happened. So no one can answer everything. You should work on your strengths, maximize your score. That should be your focus of the examination. So work on your strengths. If you feel general aptitude is a strong area for you, if you know that you're very good in logical reasoning and analytical things and math part, that is quant, and also English, try to solve general aptitude first. That will boost up your confidence, right? So work on your strengths. If general aptitude is your strength, work on it first. If you think something else, theory part of gate paper is strength for you, work on that first. So try to work on your strengths. That is something which you should focus on. Secondly, plan your time. Now you need not in the GATE exam. If you look into the mock test, you will understand there's a display of the remaining time. So the countdown starts from 180 minutes. So it keeps on reducing as the time of the exam progresses. So you always have that stopwatch going on the screen. So ensure that there's no time limit for section. There's no time limit like first half an hour you have to solve general aptitude. There's no such time rule. So you can work on your strengths, but make sure you have a wise time allocation. Time allocation is very crucial. Don't sit on general aptitude for 1 hour. No, don't think, okay, general aptitude is my strength and sir has asked me to work on the strengths. So let me solve all the 10 questions of general aptitude slowly with complete interest and take 1 hour to do it. No, you cannot take 1 hour to just answer 10 questions out of total 65 questions. So that is not a wise thing. So try to work on the time allocation wisely. 2.7 minutes per question, I told you, is the average. So you should not spend more than 25 to 30 minutes on general. That's the maximum limit. Maximum limit which you have to allocate for general aptitude is 25 to 30 minutes. 25 minutes is wise to do. Now, that said, you need not complete one section completely before moving on to the next part. It's not necessary that you will never come back to general aptitude. I'll tell you what worked for me personally when I got my first rank in gate architecture, or even before that, in my first attempt, as I hope you know, in my first attempt I got rank 24, and in my second attempt I got first rank. In both the attempts, with respect to time allocation, which worked for me is I have gone through the complete question paper, and many students have told me that they have done this. I'm not saying this will work for everyone, but if you feel it will work for you, you can use this strategy. Go through the overall question paper, starting with the first question itself. Try to answer all the easy questions. Now, I told this point to all my students multiple times. Gate question paper, any gate question paper is a mixture of all the types of questions. You will have easy, moderate, and also difficult questions in all gate papers. It is a combination of all these three. So you need to make sure that 100% of the easy questions are correct in your question paper. That's very crucial to boost up your score. You should not do any mistakes in the easy part. So the strategy which you can use is go through the question paper. If you find something is easy, answer it then and there. You need not read the complete question paper first. Answer all the easy questions. Even moderate questions, when I say moderate questions, these are easy questions but are slightly lengthy in calculations. If you find such question, you can also solve them, because you can use even 2 minutes in the first cycle of the question paper. You can use even 2 minutes per question and solve as many questions as you can. Difficult questions, you can leave it for later on. Now, don't sit on general aptitude. So in general aptitude also, generally this is the observation, out of 10 questions, at least 5 questions are very easy in general aptitude each year. Each and every paper, there's no gate paper with 5 easy general aptitude questions. You'll always have at least 5 easy general aptitude questions. Solve all those 5 easy general aptitude questions in the first go itself. There are some difficult questions in each gate paper. You will at least have 1 to 2 difficult general aptitude questions, particularly in the quantitative ability part. In English, you will have simple questions. In logical reasoning LR also, you'll have very easy questions. But in the quantitative part, you can have slightly lengthy calculations sometimes. Those lengthy questions you can leave it off in the first cycle and come across those questions later on at the end. So work on this strategy, because if you also simultaneously start solving difficult questions at the end, there is a fair chance that you will have less time to answer the easy questions at the end. So your target should be score all the easy marks which you can throughout the paper, then address the difficult questions. That will be a strategy which will help you boost up your score, right? So this is something. So answer all the easy questions and then move towards difficult questions. Don't waste a lot of time in moving across through the question paper. Don't look at general aptitude sometime, then part A, then switching to part B, coming back to general aptitude. Don't do this multiple times. You can do it, no one is stopping you, but don't waste time in doing it. You can obviously switch between parts as many times as you want, but don't waste time in doing that. Time is very crucial in the examination. So that is about how to address the question paper during the examination. I hope I have given you enough length of discussion on that. Other than that, point number 3 under during the examination, state of mind. I know it is very easy to say that you can stay calm during the examination. Obviously, it is very difficult to put it into practice. Everyone, even me, have passed through this phase. Before exam also you will get nervous. During the exam also you will get nervous, prone to have nervousness. I'm not asking you to have 100% cool state of mind, but whatever is best possible for you, you have to stay at that level of calmness, because getting tensed, getting nervousness during the examination is the worst thing which can happen to you during the gate exam. So it is the biggest enemy. So stay cool. How can you stay cool? By putting into practice all the things which I told you. Go through the pattern of the question of the interface beforehand, revise all the things which you have done, adjust your sleep time and sleep cycle, solve past gate papers to boost up your self confidence, read all the relevant updates so that when you get something similar to that in the gate paper, you're not uh, say struck by what is this. You should not have that level, that thing in the examination. So put all these things which you have discussed into practice, and I'm sure you will be in the coolest possible level for you personally, because everyone cannot stay at the same level of calmness, right? So just do your best. That is what I would suggest you. If some students are very good in maintaining cool state of mind, some are not very good. Even if you're not very good, try to do the best possible level of calmness and coolness for you, right? So that is something which I have, which I would say. So put into practice all the things which we discussed, and you can ensure cool state of mind during the examination. Other than that, with respect to the new pattern during the examination also, because there is this new pattern, let me also give you a brief. This I have already mentioned points with respect to this. We're almost towards the end of the discussion, but with respect to new part, as I told you, there are 4 things in the examination. So when you look at the screen in the examination, you will have 4 tabs on the top of the screen here: general aptitude, part A, B1 and B2. There will be 4 things. In B1 and B2, you will have an option to select any one. You can make a selection and then look at the question paper of that part. So there are 4 things: general aptitude, common part A, that part B1, that is architecture part, B2, that is planning part. First thing to be remembered, majority of the marks is concentrated on the common part, 60 marks. Just to give you a bit of perspective, someone who got 60 marks in the last year's question paper got a double digit rank, less than 25 marks. So it is not fixed each year, but someone who scored around 60 marks in last year's paper got a double digit rank for sure. So that's something which you have to remember. Common part has a very huge weightage, so don't neglect that. Try to maximize your score and spend proportionate time on common part as well. That is something, and all these points which I mentioned over here: UNESCO sites, Ramsar wetlands, biosphere reserves, all these related are related to the theory part of common portion itself. So that is something which is very crucial. Now, I'm not asking you to revise only common part, revise everything. During the examination, make sure you have proportionate allocation of time for common part. Don't neglect it. That is very crucial. General aptitude also is very important because it is very easy. The reason why it is important is it is very easy to score marks in it. As I told you, each year at least five general aptitude questions, including logical reasoning and English, are very easy and easy to score. So make sure you capitalize on those easy parts of the examination. So make sure you score very good in the general aptitude. Most of the top rankers score 15 on 15 in general aptitude. So that is very crucial. So that is also important with respect to new patterns. So focus on general aptitude. Leave out the difficult questions of general aptitude to be done towards the end. Lengthy questions also towards the end. Common part, allocate proportionate time on it. Don't waste a lot of time in making a choice between architecture and planning. That's the last point for me under new pattern. So in GATE, there is a provision to look at both part A, part B1, and also part B2, and then make a choice. Don't solve all the 16 questions of architecture and all the 16 questions of planning and then calculate how much you're scoring confidently and then answer. Don't do this. It will waste a lot of time. Just skim through the questions. Just have an overview through architecture part. Just have an overlook through the planning part. Make a choice. Whichever you think you're confident in answering, make a choice then and there and answer the question. Don't waste a lot of time in calculating how much you're getting in architecture, how much you're getting in planning. No, don't do that. So that is, these are some points with respect to during the examination. Now finally, few points with respect to post exam. Firstly, target score. Target for a score around 65 plus, 70 plus. That will give you a wonderful rank and get you into IITs for sure. So set a target score, but do not waste time in counting your score. I have seen this. Many students come out and after the examination, they tell me, "Sir, I will score 56 marks. Will I get IIT?" It means you have wasted a lot of time in counting how many marks you're getting. So no one should be able to tell how much you're exactly scoring. So don't waste time in such unnecessary things. Because no one knows anything about cutoff at this point of time. No one knows about cutoff till the gate publishes the cutoff. So just try to do your best. That is something which you should focus on. So don't waste time in counting your marks. Don't waste time in thinking about cutoff. Don't waste time in thinking about will you get into IIT or not. Just have 100% concentration on the examination and try to do your best. Try to do your best in staying calm. Try to do your best in scoring maximum as much as possible for you. So that is something which you can remember. And we will, for your information, we at KP Gate classes will also schedule. We always so just to give you this information, for the past 7 years, we have been functioning under the name Career Avenues in Delhi. So we had this franchisee model with Career Avenues, and we at Career Avenues Delhi have been conducting these live classes, physical classes, and have been providing top-notch content in terms of study material, test series, and everything. But now Career Avenues Delhi Center particularly has been rebranded, has been changed into KP Gate classes. Now we are not associated with Career Avenues. The same team, not only me personally, the complete faculty team, complete management team, all the front and back and everything at Delhi Career Value Center has been now updated into KP Gate classes. And I hope you are aware from your seniors, from your friends, that architecture was being run only by Career at Career Values Delhi Center itself. Mainly that was the major part where we provide all the content and all the lectures, right? So if you suggest your friends for your future reference, make sure that you provide this piece of information. That will be hugely supportive for us personally. So yeah, so I was telling you about this post gate session. So each year we also conduct post gate session. After the gate examination, we provide a guidance session to students to understand what are the options they have, at which score, which college you can get into, how to, there are some colleges which not only consider gate score, but there are additional portfolio and interview sessions also, like SPA Delhi, SPA Bhopal, SPA Vijayawada. So we will also have guidance sessions for these SPAs and also SEPT after gate examination. So you can also enroll into our post-gate sessions very soon after, once the gate examination is done. So this post-exam part is something we will deal after the exam. So don't think much about it. That's what I have to say about post-exam. We will have sufficient time to discuss regarding this later on. So to end this session finally, you can you should not can you should enroll into the mock test. So I told you about this boosting your confidence by solving past papers and revising things and comprehensive revision, which is very crucial. So to have a comprehensive revision in this remaining time, try to at least solve one mini mock. Now I'm sure it's not possible to solve one 3 hour mock on each day on daily basis, because you need to spend enough time on revision also. So for this, to help students, we have created a mini mock series where you have small mock tests to boost up your confidence and also to give you a comprehensive revision as well. So try to answer questions at least one mini mock per day. Try to do it. You can enroll into a mini mock series just at a nominal price of 1 rupee. You can access that link in the description of this video. This video will be also available on the YouTube. Even after this session, the live streaming has stopped. So you can access the link for it for 1 rupee mock and answer these mini mocks. That is also very crucial to boost up your self confidence and to have a comprehensive revision. So these are some points which I thought would be important and crucial for the discussion for this particular session. So if you have any further doubts, you can ask me. You can put out your doubts in the chat option below over here, and I will try to address as many questions as I can. If you have anything to ask, feel free to put down your questions. Anything related to any aspect which we have discussed, or anything else which you need as a sense of as a sort of guidance with respect to this gate exam. uh, I see a question, something related to career venues mock test. So if you have purchased anything from career venues, all those resources are valid, are available for you. No worries about that. But mini mocks are something which we at KP classes are providing. So you can access those mini mocks also in addition to that, right? If you have solved the past test series and all, that's well and good. Uh, I'm not saying anything is bad in that. Everything passed through us. A lot of things have passed through me personally also. So I can assure you most of the things are of good quality. But in addition to that, you can also solve these mini mocks to boost up your confidence. I hope that answers your question, Saba. Hamza has a question: how to tackle MSQ type questions? Hamza, to talk about MSQ or multiple select questions, the best thing about multiple select questions is you don't have any negative marking in these. The reason why you don't have negative marking is in those questions is there is very less scope for guesswork in those questions. The best approach which will suit for multiple select questions is elimination approach. Read the question, eliminate those options which you're 100% sure, then spend some time, spend 30 seconds to 1 minute of time on looking into those probable answers, then make a choice. Elimination approach works best for multiple select questions. That would be my suggestion with respect to tackling MSQ questions. Hamza, I hope that answers your question. Saurav has a question: how marks to all work? Sort of marks to all is very simple. As the name suggests, it is marks to everyone who has written the examination. Even if there's a question with some incorrect units or incorrect information in it, and you have not attempted that question, and if gate decides to give marks to all, even if you have not attempted that question, you will get marks. That is how it works. But I personally would suggest at the end of the examination, if you find a mistake, even then answer the question if it is numerical answer type question or multiple select question. At the end of the examination, your question paper should not have even one unattended question under numerical or multiple select type. Try to do that, right? So try to answer. I'm not asking you to do guesswork, but try to make a take a level of calculated risk and answer the questions if there is no negative marking, right? So that's how marks to all works, Saurabh. How many decimals should we consider for final answer? Aditya, always round off to 2 decimal places. So with respect to rounding off, 2 points. Point number one, if you're rounding off something before the final answer in the calculation, round it off to 4 decimal places. That way you will have an answer in the range. Second point, final answer, round it off to 2 decimal places. So rounding off something before the final answer, round it off to 4 decimal places. Rounding off something in the last step, round it off to 2 decimal places. That is with respect to rounding off your questions. Um, Rishabh already answered about MSQs. In the regular mock series, is it possible to get an analysis of our mock ranks? Aruni, no, that was not possible. I think. So, so these are some things, as I told you, these are some things which are still which still have a scope of improvement, and that's what we want to work on. So after this rebranding into KP Gate classes, we want to have a seamless experience to the students. That's also a major reason. Like you have pointed, there are some issues obviously, so we want to rectify those also. But the quality content would always be the same. Um, क्या IIT से electrical M.Tech worth it है? Aman, this discussion is focused only on architecture and planning. So electrical M.Tech, you can ask relevant faculty of those branches or friends or seniors from those branches. Sanskrit, thank you and such. Uh, this is what gives motivation to us, and we always stay motivated to provide top-notch content and guidance to students. Thank you. How can we complete the revision in these 3 days? What are the areas of focus? Anushri, if you have missed the complete session, it will be available it will be available on this YouTube channel. I have identified some core areas which you need to work on during the revision already in this session. So you can have a look at it once again. MSQ questions, we have to tick all the correct options. Yes, Lakshya, you have to answer all the correct options. You can have one correct option or two correct options or three or all the four. Multiple select can be one or two or three or all the four. That's how it is. Services part, is it important? Man, obviously services is very important. Services including lighting, thermal comfort, acoustics, all these are very important areas, numerically important. You can revise on the terminology, you can revise the measurement units. That is something which you can revise at this point of time in addition to the numerical content. If you feel something is vast. Between architecture and planning, if both the parts are attempted, then which part will be considered? Ayushi, you cannot attempt both the parts. So that's the reason I asked you to go through the official mock test to understand the pattern in which it is available. So how gate paper is the new pattern is say the interface of it is such a way that you have architecture and planning. You have a box to select. You have to select that, and only then you will get the questions to answer. So if you selected architecture and answered some questions, then if you select planning and start answering some questions, the architecture part, all the answers which you have answered here will just vanish, right? So you can answer questions only in any one part. That's how the interface is designed. I hope that's clear, Ayushi. You cannot answer both, to put it simple. Muskan, sure, thank you. What should be the revision process of KP classes students? Okay, Hamza, I did not understand your question. Don't get confused. There is no difference with respect to the lectures which you got and everything. It is just that, for example, if you were enrolled into the live online classes of Career Avenues, you have installed a Career Avenues app earlier. If you update, there is an update of the app. If you just update, after the update, the app will now be displayed as KP Gate classes. That's the only thing. Other than that, there's no other thing which has changed in the overall content. So do not get confused, Hamza. Focus on the revision. Don't focus on the rebranding and all these things. I just thought that is something which I want to put into your mind. That's it. Um, Black body radiation, which formula is used? Which subject? Then that question which was asked in last year's paper, that relates to thermal comfort in buildings. Basically, it relates to climatology itself. Always there are new questions in gate paper. So that black body radiation thing, it relates to say Stephen Boltzmann law, something related to that. It's not an important area. So you can work on important areas. Always there are uncertainties. Always there are new things in the examination. You should focus on capitalizing the things which you know and things which are of more probability to be asked in the examination. So that's something which I would suggest then. But obviously, you can go through that Stephen Boltzmann law also to answer that question if you are solving the past gate paper. Is planning part difficult in architecture section? Anushri, that is a very vague question. You cannot make such comment that this is difficult or this is easy, because it changes each year. It is possible that this year architecture is very easy and planning will be difficult. It is also possible that planning is very easy and architecture. And it is very much possible that you feel architecture is easy, but I feel planning is easy. That's also possible. So try to work on your strengths. Try to score maximum possible marks at your end. That's what you should do. Uh, how important is revision during exam at less time after first attempt of question? Something I would say, if you have time only, then you can recheck all your answers. And if you're rechecking, I think rechecking the numerical part is important, particularly lengthy numericals, because in lengthy numericals, you're prone to do silly errors. So that's where you can, if you have time left out after attempting all the questions, just revise or recheck the lengthy numericals. That's where you are prone to do mistakes generally, right? So that is to answer your question complete. Should we add minus to indicate course directions or just magnitude is enough? Aditya, you have to use the sign also, minus and plus also, plus nine, but minus. If it is a negative force, you have to answer it as minus if it is a question based on structures. And also in other questions, there can be negative answers. In numerical answer type, if there's a negative, if the answer is minus 20, you have to write minus 20. So that sign is also very important. Structures both vast and important topics, my point. Then, with respect to structures, work on shear force, moment, bending moment diagram, and work on truss analysis, the basics of it. These two are the core areas. And finally, bending stress and shear stress. These three are important. Bending stress, shear stress, there are just one or two formulae under that. Flexure equation, understanding the average shear stress formula. Those are important areas under bending stress, shear stress. Shear force bending moment diagram, that is important. You need to know how to calculate shear force bending moment. You need to know truss analysis, how to calculate force in members. These three areas you can work on revise 9 under structures. Is MSQ type, is there possibility that only one answer is correct or two or more than is? Akansha, absolutely. In MSQ also, one answer also can be correct. That is also a possibility. There's a question of multiple select questions have a tag. There's absolutely yes. All the multiple select questions are tagged on the top that it is a multiple select question. And in the discussion also, I told you just by looking at the options, you will understand because multiple choice questions, you will have options with circular bullets. Multiple select questions, you will have box shaped bullets to select. So can I easily identify the difference between MSQ and MCQ in the also it will be written on the top. So you need not worry about it. I'm not able to solve structures part MCQ even after my revision. Should I revise it again or should I leave structures and focus on other parts? Sacred soul, you have to focus on your strengths obviously, but don't leave out any subject completely. Just because you're doing mistakes, don't leave it out completely. Just revise once. It is possible that in the examination you will be able to answer. Revise everything, but focus on your strengths obviously. That would be my suggestion. Uh, How many questions are there in architecture and planning? Suryansh, I told you 16 questions in part B, both in architecture and also planning part. Is Indian temple architecture, modern architecture enough for history? Aditya, you can revise everything once, right? You can get questions from any part. Had there ever been a case where only one option is correct for multiple select questions? Saurav, I think, yeah, there was one instance in last year's paper. One question where only one answer was correct. Architects and the building cities, their shapes, planners and cities has no limit. How much time should we invest in memorizing them? Savvy Sonis, don't learn anything new. Whatever you have learned and made a note of it, just revise those things with respect to all these theory content. That would be sufficient. Can you please name few architects and the works which we can revise at the last moment? Shivanshi, there is no thumb rule as such to important list of architects, but I would suggest you solve past gate papers. If you don't have time in solving all the past gate papers, try to just have a sense of what type of questions are asked. With respect to architects and the works, I can tell you one thing. Generally, there's a division. You will have one question on foreign architects, one question on Indian architects. So if you're revising architects and the works, just don't revise the foreign architects or famous architects out of India. Also revise some famous architects within India. Also revise some important works in modern times, which are award-winning works of famous architects in India. So that is something you need to develop as a habit in revision of architects and the works. Will there be OMR provided or will it be a computer-based test? Others, it is a computer-based test completely. Pooja has a question. So which topics to go through for last 3 days under standards since it's very vast to cover. Pooja, you can revise NBC Volume 1, Part 3, Development Control Regulations, it is. Part 4, Fire Safety. And also, other than you can also go through that barrier-free guidelines of CPWD, briefly that, and focus on revising the theory points and the terminology of NBC, not much on standards though. That's to answer your question, Pooja. Is there only one sheet provided at one point of time? The rules read that it should be returned in order to take more. Absolutely yes, Nan. If you take a booklet, solve, filled it completely. If you want an additional booklet, you have to return the first one. And also, at the end of the examination, you're not allowed to carry that booklet. You have to return that booklet. So don't waste time in writing down the questions, writing down the options and all. If you remember something, that's well and good, but don't write everything into the book. Architects and works is in B1 or B2. Rishabh, it's in B1. Architects and the works is in B1. Does mark of mock test decide the actual gate marks? Absolutely no, Dhanush Kodi. There have been past students of ours who have scored around 30-35 marks in mock tests, but have scored or have achieved a double digit rank in the gate examination. Mock tests are just to give you practice, are just to let you identify the suitable strategy to answer the questions in the examination, and just to identify your strong areas. It is nowhere a metric to tell you how much marks you will get in the actual examination. So if you got a wonderful mark in your mock test, don't get overconfident. If you have scored very less in the mock test, even in that case, don't get demotivated. So that's about it. So I think I tried to answer as many questions as possible. For any further doubts, you can put your doubts into the chat after once this video is available on the YouTube channel. You can put it into the chat and we'll try to address as many questions as possible on the YouTube channel of ours at KP Gate Classes. Thank you for attending this session. And because this would be the last time we'll be meeting before your examination, all the best from a complete team of KP Gate Classes, and we would wish you to clear this examination with wonderful score and marks. I'm not talking about rank at this point of time. Don't think about rank. Just focus on getting maximum possible score from your end. All the best, and we will discuss. We will meet again after the gate exam. We will discuss how you scored, what colleges you get in the post gate session also. Bye. And